we've got the NYXL against the Chengdu Hunters. And right off the get-go, we see that the NYXL and the Chengdu Hunters are both playing a version of dive composition. Now, NYXL is playing more of a standard dive, more of counter dive with the soldier, right? They've teched in the Samba. Samba, obviously a really good flanker and kind of a must if you want to play dive if Tracer is banned. Some would even argue that without Tracer banned, he's already a must. But we've seen soldier Tracer composition in the past. So, definitely a great pick there. You see the Samba on the Hunters too. The difference here is that Ameng is on his famous Wrecking Ball. We saw him last week on the Winston. Didn't impress me too much. But his Wrecking Ball's famous, right? He's really good at this character. And we've got Jinmu on Genji, while NYXL more standard soldier as kind of the backline healer. You know, soldier is basically picked as another character that keeps the Brigitte and Zen alive, mostly the Zenyatta. And the Hunters have opted for more of a super dive, where Molly and Yveltal might be getting a little less help, but they might not need that help without Tracer in the meta right now. And they've went for the Winston because Hammond gets countered by Sombra really hard. So it might be hard for Ameng to do a lot of work with the Excelsior playing the Sombra. Okay, so we see the NYXL grab the top right area here. They do have that soldier, so it'd make a lot of sense for them to try and grab this high ground, right? They are going to go for the high ground. Ooh, Jinwoo already goes to 1 HP. And where's Ameng right now? He kind of has to be dodging the Samba, right? Because he does not want to be hacked by the Samba. Oh, so Ameng instantly gets whipped by Animo. Oh, they're gone. But before the fight even starts, Jonak actually picks Molly. And that is an incredible pick. Good morning, Luffy. Let's see how that happened. As many people have been discussing, is Jonak still the best flex support in the league? And maybe not, but he's still incredibly good, right? You'll see when the more tough matches start for the NYXL. Ooh, and just a really great right click, and he already had the Discord onto Molly. So you could see him through walls, right? Molly didn't respect the Discord enough, maybe? Oh, Molly was not Discorded right here. When does he get discorded? Does he get discorded? Oh, no, he doesn't even get discorded. So Jonak, just a really great drop, and we can see through walls the spectator, but he is definitely not able to, so very nice job by him. And then you see how this is the classic NYXL strategy. And maybe this is why they've picked the soldier and the Winston, right? Because Jonak gets dived, Mano instantly puts a bubble on him, Animo drops to go and help him, Hoppa also helps him, and Sabiobi's the only one not helping Jonak right now. But he's also going to drop and help. Oh, he's dropped and helped and put down the heal. So this is classic NYXL, right? This is NYXL all throughout GOATs. Pocket Jonak, make him pop off, and well, he does pick Molly, so there's definitely point in it. Libero does end up dying at the tail end of that. Nice job by Jinmu. But yeah, you see how NYXL as a whole, they like to play around their backline, and they did a very good job of it right there. And their comp allows for that to happen too, right? They've picked a more spam focused composition where they can sit back more, have the soldier to protect the Zenyatta, and make the enemy team kind of have to dive them. Now they get a pick here before the fight even starts. But whether that happens or not, Hunters is the one that's going to have to dive. And Jinmu actually has a lot of ult percentage already. He's already at 80%. So he's done a great job so far farming his blade. Okay, Mono dives in aggressively this time. Also, I think the NYXL has given up this much positioning because Libero got picked pretty late. He's only coming back now. So they kind of had to give up their positioning for for Libero to come back, right? And let me open up my drawing software here real quick. You guys can't see it properly. Nice. But yeah. Normally, you'd rather hold this area of the map, right? You'd rather hold close. You put your backline up high ground. So they're safe, and then they can drop main when the enemy team comes in. But because Libero was coming back from spawn, right? He died late to Jinmu. The NYXL rotated back to their main area and are now playing more safe. And because of that also, Mono kind of had to hold space, so he had to go and use his bubble to go and fight the point, which is, you'd rather use the bubble for the counter dive, right? But in this case, the enemy team doesn't have a Winston bubble. They only have the Hammond, who's now getting choked or like poked out very hard too. Oh, Jinmu comes in with the blade. Wait, he dashes the wall. Wait a second. Wait, so he did such a great job farming his blade. Okay, okay. Getting pocketed. See, Jinmu has the armor. Okay. Oh, okay, okay. He dashes the wall because he dashes Hoppa. I'm dumb. He can't dash in there because he'll just get stunned by Animo, so he does not. That's very smart. So he goes for the Winston. Jinmu is such a good player. Like, Jinmu is the star on the Chengdu Hunters. Jonak comes in with the Transcendence. Damage has already been done, or should have already been done. Ameng already ends up dying though. Now it's kind of a stalemate, and this is all good for the NYXL though, because they're topped up. They have control of the point, right? Ameng's just died. Elsa's very low. And you have to remember that for this support line, for Briggs and Yara, it's very, very easy to heal up the flankers and the DPS, like the Sombra and the Soldier, or the Sombra and the Genji, because they have like very accessible healing, right? It's point and click, both the Orb and the Brig healing. But the tanks, that's where you lack in healing, right? You don't have like an Ana to massively heal up the tanks. So if Elsa is this low HP, there's basically no way for him to get healed up unless he can get packs or the fight's in a stalemate. Right now, Mono's not going to let that happen. Liver also comes out with the EMP. So these fights so far, even though the Hunters use their blade, not able to cap. Now, Excelsior did have to use their Transcendence and their EMP. So, it's not the end of the world for the Hunters here. If they could get a good EMP onto Jonak, it's winnable. Now, the rally's up for Animo though. And generally, when the enemy team has EMP, and you are a Brigade player, what you're looking to do is get your rally off before the EMP goes off onto your Zenyatta. This is, of course, only if you have a Zenyatta. But because Zenyatta has so much shield, means the EMP will damage him for 150 health. But if you can get the armor, then suddenly he doesn't just have 50 health, you know? And you can heal him up through the EMP. So you really want to pop that rally before, you know. Now, Animo doesn't have it yet, but that's the general principle. So the EMP comes out really early for a lead. I like this fast play from the Hunters, especially because Animo doesn't have the rally yet. Now, they can't know that 100%. But just this fast-paced gameplay, very, very strong. So they connect really well with the dive. The port line comes in too. They go for Jonak. Jonak gets the mega pocket. Does still end up dying though. They also rally, but while this is all going on, NYXO actually ends up winning this fight. Well, the fight's not over yet, but they've killed the Zenyatta and the Genji. So the Sombra uncloaks behind Molly and Yveltal and comes in with the Winston as well. So Yveltal even rallies to keep Molly alive, but Mono then ults. Oh, and he boops Molly off the map. So very good ult from Mono. Then Sabiobi ends up right clicking Jinmu. Soldier, pretty big buff in the last patch. He uses Rocket has gone from 8 seconds to 6 seconds, which is now also on live. So even though McCree just a raw damage output, still better than Soldier. It's actually still a pretty big buff to Soldier. And might be a large part why he's played right now, right? He can also pocket the Zenyatta very well. And NYXO will again end up cleaning up this fight. So really good round for the NYXO, and their kind of counter dive style works especially well when they have control of the point, right? Because then they can just play this high ground. When the Chengdu Hunters come in, they can just drop to their main, and then this is very safe, right? Because you see how far this point is, and being the Hunters, you always want to dive within your support line of sight, right? Because otherwise Molly won't be able to discord anybody. But if you look at the sightlines on this map, I actually liked how Molly and Yveltal went over here just now. They have to either come out of main and discord from main, which this is very diveable for a Sombra and a Winston, or they have to come out of here and then they can get dived right here, right? And this is also very diveable for a Sombra and a Winston. So it's just, it would be very easy if Molly and Yveltal would already be set up, just like the NYXO is in these fights, right? But now, because the Hunters want to dive so quick, because they have the Wrecking Ball and the Genji, it makes it very hard for Molly and Yveltal to get into position, and you just saw how badly they got punished just now for trying to do it, right? They even had the rally. But Mono was able to ult Molly off the map. And now the Chengdu Hunters only have 10 seconds left to get to the point. Okay, so Amen walks in. He has his mines. Animo gets dived. He doesn't manage to drop. So this is kind of an error from the NYXL, right? If your flex support and your soldier drop, as Brig, you should also make sure to be with them and drop. So let's go back a little bit, see how this happens. Yeah, Sabiobi drops first. Jonak drops, and then Animo just kind of doesn't drop, and then he gets booped. Preferably, he would have also booped or stunned Ameng mid-air there, and then jumped back to his team with his dash even, but kind of just stayed up there. Gets discorded. Probably going to die here. Might not die, but should die. Okay. Yeah, he is going to end up dying. So yes, slight error on Adamo's part there. Libero also ended up dying there. He gets his translocator destroyed. The Sombra mind game kind of, and in this situation it doesn't really apply because Libero's translocator is just on point. But what Sombras have been doing a lot in their downtime is look for the enemy Sombra translocator, and then if they see the enemy Sombra pop up, then they kill the translocator instead of just destroying it, right? So it's definitely something we can look an eye out on in this game. But in this situation, Libero's translocator is kind of out in the open. So then it just gets destroyed, right? Should be put in that safer, and I'm not sure why he put it there. Let's... Oh, he went to go farm for ultimate, and then he just kind of didn't, and then also didn't replace his translocator. So yeah, not good translocator placement for the positioning Chengdu Hunters is in, right? Because it's pretty easy for both aiming and leave to destroy. And then if Libero uncloaks, he's just screwed like right now. You always want to watch out with where you leave the translocator. Generally, I like putting it close to the fight, right? Preferably to have as little downtime as possible. As the Sombra player, you're greedy, right? You keep the translocator as close to your team as possible. So you can go for a hack on Elsa here, hack him, farm some ult charge, but then TP out and then have no downtime because your TP was close to your team. So you're right back in the fight. What I see worse Sombras do often is have their translocator all the way into Yeety, like have it over here or something, and then have to translocate all the way back there, and then have to travel back to the fight for like 3 seconds, you know? Well, if you place it a little closer to the fight, let's say instead of right there, you place it right here, you save precious seconds, you know? So that is something, it's like a balance between hiding it from the enemy team, being safe, but also getting back into the fight quick enough. But this was a little bit too greedy from Libero. That's why he put it there, right? He wants to be quick. Anyway, now the NYXL are 2 down. Both Animo and Libero are going to die. And even though the NYXL control the point, probably not winning this point anymore. So yeah, 2 individual slip-ups there on the side of the NYXL, I think. And even though Jonak manages to kill Aiming, they're now going to have to start retaking. Retaking is really hard on this point, actually. Retaking is very, very hard on this point. But let's see how the NYXL pull it off. They do have a lot of ultimates here. However, the Hunters only used their Hammond Mines this last fight. So that was a really great fight for the Chengdu Hunters. And they've also... Oh, what's that? They've also swapped over their Brig to a Lucio. Not too big a fan of this. But I think Yveltal might have died in that fight. Or something happened and he swapped over, right? To get back quick. Because they were like 90%. So Yveltal had to go and swap to the Lucio so they could get a better contest. However, the Chengdu Hunters have 4 ultimates here. The NYXL almost has 4 or 5 ultimates, right? So it's somewhat of an even fight. But NYXL can take 2 fights here, basically. This point, fights tend to go very, very long. So that's why I'm not saying free fights. But it's such a big point with like a pillar in the middle. And teams dance around this pillar a lot, right? This is definitely not a one map for the NYXL yet. Because it's really hard to retake this. And they're going to have to be quite clean on it. Right? Maybe they can EMP the enemy team's tanks. Focus them down before the Transcendence gets there. because Molly's actually playing quite far away. Or they can look to aggressively bomb, right, to maybe force out the Transcendence. Generally, they'll want to make an aggressive play, right, because they are the ones that have to retake. While Chengdu Hunters, they can also make an aggressive play, right? It's very good, especially with their Genji Blade, but they have to watch out for the enemy team, the EMP as well. Aiming behind the enemy team. Mono walks up to the fight. He's actually already very low, and this is something I've talked about, right? Where it's so hard to heal up tanks with this support line, especially with the just a Brig Zen. Mono is very hard to heal up right now. So he is going to jump out. He still has his Winston bubble though. Oh, and he's had to use it. That's really bad. That's like Winston's most important cooldown. So they have to kind of wait for that to engage. Now, Ameng slams in. Jonak has the Transcendence because... What? Jonak has the Transcendence because otherwise he was going to hit with the bomb. And this is a classic Hammond combo, right? You EMP or you Diva bomb. And then the Hammond will slam so nobody can run away from the Diva bomb. They did this to Jonak. Jonak had the Transcendence. But then Animo kind of boops Ameng into the cars. And it's one of those cars had a bad day. He just hit a silly hamster. What? Oh no! Not the hamster! Oh, it's so sad. We need some Enya music with this. Or we need Who Can Say Where the Road Goes. Can I get a candle in chat for this little Ameng hamster who just got booped into the cars and gets driven over again? So let's actually watch his POV here. So he gets booped, and then he hits the side, and then somehow that launches him into cars. And then he's dead crab. Wow. I'm making a joke out of this, but this is obviously really bad for the Hunters. Just them forcing out the trance is great, right? Because then they'll get a free blade or EMP after. But now that Ameng's died, all that's out the window, right? Molly's also had to use his Transcendence. Because hack? I guess we'll watch that real quick. Oh, so Libero just went for the manual hack on him. And because if Libero gets that hack off, then he can freely EMP, right? Like straight after. Because Molly can't Transcendence his EMP anymore. So Molly actually goes for the kind of preemptive Transcendence. But there's really no good choice for Molly here. Because if he doesn't Transcendence, then Libero is just going to EMP him, right? So Molly Transcendence is bad for the Hunters, but it's totally reasonable for him, right? But yeah, they've already used 2 ultimates. After the Jonak Transcendence, Leave goes for the EMP. Good job by Animo to armor Jonak though. and make sure that he has extra health to live through the EMP. Jinwoo's gonna come in with the blade. They're all ganging up on Jonak and Animo. Nice job from Leave and Jinwoo there to coordinate that. Oh, not again, Mono. It's Roadkill City. Oh, wait, he didn't boop him. Okay, he's going to die cars, however. Going to die to Hotba. Libero just EMPs after Transcend. Let's watch the other side. This fight's very messy, and this is like very normal in Dive, right? That fights are messy all over the place. Let's see here. So, Molly gets his Transcendence forced. Mono's right in the middle of the fight. Probably has another bubble now. Yes, he does. And then, is Libero just going to EMP now? He can't, because everybody from the Hunters is now speeding in with the Lucio speed boost to go and kill Jonak, who's EMP. So this was a very good move from the Hunters, actually, because if they stay here with Molly, Yveltal, and Elsa, Libero is just going to get a free man EMP. But now Libero is actually going to have a pretty hard time to get back to the team. Also doesn't have a translocator up right now. Or he's throwing it in right now. So good job there from the Hunters again. You kind of get out. Now, fight's going on here. Molly is going to end up dying. It's a 2-for-1 right now from the Hunters. Libero ends up hacking Leave though, so he's going to die. Aiming slams Sabiobi. Oh, Sabiobi somehow gets out. And who? Okay, and then Libero EMPs before he dies both Jinwoo and Aiming, but he did end up dying. So there might not be enough damage from York Excelsior to have hacked this pack. Then Aiming and Jinwoo both die. Wow, what a fight. And I think the York Excelsior are going to clean this up. Yeah, they are. That's crazy. Mono did so much that fight. Also, the cars came in really clutch for NYXL, killing Aiming there early. And it's so hard to like come back when your main tank dies, right? Because you create so much space. Now the Hunters are just staggering in. They have used a beat, but I doubt something is going to come out of this. Alright, NYXL are just going to win the round from here. But I would say that all goes to venture back to the first fight, right? Where Jonak's able to get that pick onto Molly. And then this point in particular, it's so hard to retake because it's so big. Like the point is massive. There's so much high ground and cover around it. So you can like always keep rotating away from the enemy team and not get killed. Let's see what both these teams pick. Okay, we're in basically a mirror matchup. I guess Hunters do have the Baptiste and the NYXL do have the Anna. But on this university map, this is really, really interesting, right? Because what we're seeing isn't a return to what week 1 was. Because week 1 to 4 in the Overwatch League had all unbanned heroes, right? That we can pick right now. But it was mostly Lucio, Anna, Diva, Reinhardt, Mei, Kree. And I still think that comp is really, really good. And I think the Sigma is played specifically on maps like this. Because space is so important on a map like this. And if your Sigma and McCree can hold inside this right side, and their McCree can't control that space at all, that's really hard. So I think that's why teams are playing the Sigma with McCree and the Mei, right? Because then they can control space a little better. Because Sigma is so good at just placing his shield somewhere and then walking in with it. The Baptiste is interesting from the Hunters. It's a little more poke, a little less burst healing, and the Baptiste ult is a lot worse than the Ana ult. But since first fights are so important on KOF, it could still be good, you know, if they can get like a really good drone. That could work out. Now again, you're gonna straight up see both Sigmas play on this left side. It's interesting that neither McCree is deciding to play this side. Oh, I guess they're going to play that side, but they had to do the teleport for their team, right? So they're going to be in the fight late. Interesting start so far. Walls from both teams, right? And they're putting aiming on the Reinhardt. That is not a Hunter strategy. So what I'm guessing is what happened in scrims is just they tried to play Wrecking Ball and stuff on this particular map. It didn't work out, and now they're going with sort of more of a meta composition, which still with the Sigma and the Baptiste, it's not really meta, but playing the Reinhardt and the Mei, that's kind of meta, you know? So, the NYXL are taking aggressive control of point. This is very, very good for them. Because if they can control this area, they can control whatever's looking at point. And if they can control what's on point, right, game becomes very, very easy. As long as they can keep the enemy team in this choke as they are now. Mei walls from Libero are so easy to get. Now Molly can obviously jump over those Mei walls to throw healing and his drone out. But characters such as Leave and Elsa have a harder time, right? So yeah, you'll generally see the 2v2 here on the right side. And it's also interesting that Jonak's also in that, kind of making this a free v2. Which is why NYXL's winning this in here. But then you would think, hey, Hunter should be winning the fight on point then. Because Jonak is committing over here. But Jonak's kind of able to look on both sides. And this is a really good play from the NYXL. And very, very hard to play against on the side of the Hunters, who aren't playing the Ana themselves. Well, you'd think Ana's really good against a team that doesn't play D.Va because of the Ana nades, right? You cannot eat those, so the burst healing's a lot. See, NYXL take full control of point. Now Hunters don't have to contest yet. It's still 5 seconds. Oh, and Jonak dies. Wow. Wait, what happens here? So Jonak, last map, he got the first pick to win the first fight. But now, he is the one getting picked. So he walks up just a little too much. He gets fire striked by Amang. Doesn't end up nading himself because obviously if you use the nade, you can't use it on the enemy team, which you really want to use the anti-nade. But then Elsa just uses double left click on him and he ends up dying. So maybe a little bit too greedy, but also a really nice fire strike from Amang. And at this point, nice stun there actually from Sabiolbi. It's going to be very hard to win a fight like this without your main source of healing though, without Diana. And yeah. So what looked like a very good start from the NYXL, they got all the control, right? They got this area, which I talked about, and this area. But they were kind of choking out the Hunters. Ended up, you know, not winning them the fight because of a nice fire strike and a small misplay on Jonak's port. And Molly also has the ultimate now, which his ult is suddenly a lot better. Because against Diva, the Baptiste ult basically does nothing in my opinion. But because both these teams are playing the Sigma, Sigma has a lot harder time eating spam, right? He only has that shift for a short amount of time, and it covers a lot less area. So if Hunters can like make good use and leave and maybe an Amang Fire Strike behind that Baptiste ult, Leaf can like one shot headshot people, you know. But that, including that, this map is very, very open. If you were to put a Baptiste ult right here, you can see literally everything, right? Nobody can really hide. Comes a very, very good 40 Baptiste. So the Sigma is really interesting from both these teams. Okay, NYXL ends up going in. Mono runs in really, really aggressive. Does the Baptiste ult come out? The ball comes out. Mono goes very, very aggressive. Oh, the Baptiste ult comes out. A good Maywall this is actually. Like, even though it doesn't cover the whole choke, it was very fast, and it still cuts the retreat off from the Mei and the Reinhardt, and it also forces out Molly's ultimate. A good counter wall now from Jinmu, but he ends up dying. He can't even use his shift. A little bit of a misplay on his part. And they're actually able to keep Mono alive. So wow, what it goes from like a fight the Hunter should have 9,000% won. They just didn't expect the aggression from the NYXL. And now they're one down. NYXL splitting up a little bit though. And NYXL will get to retake here. Wow. Oh, Mono. Mono gets heal naded, right? This is why Ana's so damn good. Her cooldowns are very, very impactful. Specifically, the anti-nade is just so strong. Yeah, they're able to get the point. Were New York Excelsior playing well, or were Chengdu just not good? I think these past weeks for the Chengdu haven't been that they're bad. It's just that they're inflexible as a team, right? Like, Winston's one of the best picks on that last map against the Sombra, and Amang is just not able to play Winston. Last week we saw Farah Sombra being really good, and Jinmu's a really good Farah, but he's also their Sombra player, and Leaf Sombra wasn't that great last week. And Leaf we saw mostly on the Ashe all of a sudden, you know? So, I don't think it's Chengdu being bad. It's just that everybody thought, hey, hero pools, that's going to help Chengdu, you know? Chengdu's going to be so good because of hero pools. But it's actually Chengdu that's pretty inflexible. And maybe, yeah, like Jay says, 222 did not help Chengdu because they're such a creative team. But if you think about it, hero pools and hero bans just kind of don't really help creativity that much. They limit what you can pick, right? So if then good characters get banned, right? Like the Tracer. But you like kind of relied on the Tracer, and then the enemy team just keeps playing Sombra against you, and you have a guy that's really good on Wrecking Ball, but not good on Winston. It becomes very hard for the Chengdu Hunters. And they have great pieces, right? Like players like Elsa, Jinmu, Leave, they're all very, very good. But I feel like they're only good on a specific set of characters, not great on every single character. Um, Chengdu 5 of playing weird shit in the game limits creativity. Hero pools doesn't make the game meta less. It just makes the meta of the week with Chengdu whenever. I don't think that's the truth either, though, because this week, in just these first 3 matches, we saw different compositions come out from every single team. So it's not like there is like really, oh, you have to play this or you lose, you know? So I think it's really, really interesting. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's keep going with the VOD review. And then, yeah.
Cheers, love.
Thank you for the follow, Fire Hunter Live. But yeah, let's keep going with this Chengdu against NYXL VOD review. See, that fight really should have been won by the Hunters. But good thing for them is they only use the Baptiste ult. They still have every single other ult in their arsenal. And the NYXL have the Sigma ult and the Ana ult. Wow, they actually farmed that nano boost really quick, and that's why Ana's so strong, right? Because you can farm nano so quick, and it's generally a better ult than Baptiste ult, because Baptiste ult gets countered really hard by Maywell specifically. But NYXL decided to go very, very early with their Mei ult and their Kree ult, right? I love this. I think proactive play in this game is so strong, especially in the Lucio mirror comps like this, because generally what happens is if you speed into the enemy team, what they're gonna have to do is reactively speed or heal boost, right? And then they won't have their plan set up as well as when you are the one speeding in, right? So NYXL coming out super, super aggressive with their ultimates. They get freeze on both Leave and Elsa and even Molly. The Libero's ult is crazy good here. Now they do take the fight very early. So Hunters definitely get 2 more retakes here, right? But just winning fights quick like this is really, really strong, because as you can see, the Hunters were able to use any ultimates there. Very, very good play from them. Yeah, we continue. Oh, Mano's trying to do sneaky, but I don't know why he's sneaking, because he didn't have Shatter. Where did Amen go? Let me check. Only pinned off to somewhere. Oh, he got stunned. Then he just got... Yeah. I guess he tried to pin out of the male. Then got caught out. Oh, got this next fight. Mono scouting. Gets spotted out. Gets in a pretty bad spot here. He gets nano boosted though, so that's why I guess he was that far up. And I like this because with this, you see how NYXL is like, hey, Mano, you go front, tank all their cooldowns and maybe some ultimates. We'll nano you, and then if you're in more trouble, we'll also beat you. But please go tank some ultimates. Like the male, like the Shatter, like the Sigma ult, right? There's a lot of ults here up for the Hunters. So Mano's kind of splitting off to tank those ultimates. He is going to end up dying here. I don't like that they solo Sigma ult him. Animo does also get Sigma ulted though. And Mano did his exact job, right? He's tanked the Sigma ult, the Kree ult, and the Mei ult. While they only really needed maybe 2 of these ults, it's just rough, right? Because they have to go and retake into the NYXL very quickly, because NYXL's been putting a lot of pressure on them. Yeah, maybe a little bit of an overspend. They didn't need the Mei ult right there. They do get Mano and Animo. And they do end up going to the point here. And it's not that bad of a fight, because Excelsior still ends up using free ults, even though they were kind of baiting ultimates. Now Hunters used 4 ults. So, and Excel now get the retake. But pretty close map so far. And if Hunters can actually use their Baptiste ult very aggressively here, maybe bait out the enemy Mei wall and then shoot through the Mei wall and look to get kills, that could be very, very strong. Because this is a good aggressive attack point, right? We just saw the NYXL aggressively defend here. Oh, they get a nice late wall onto Mano too. Ooh, is Leaf gonna get picked? Oh, Leaf does get picked. I think they needed to drone him real quick there. But now that's gonna force Hunters to back out because Mano's gonna get back way quicker than Leaf, right? Yeah, Mano's already back. Leaf is nowhere near back. If you look at this, he's just out of spawn. Mano's already with his team because of the charge ability. And this is just going to be a 6v5 straight up for the NYXL for the first like 5 seconds of this fight. So Hunters have to give up much more space than this. They instantly force Jinwoo's ice block, which that lasts 4 seconds. So in 4 seconds they're going to have to go and help him. And this Baptiste ult doesn't seem that great. Maybe they're trying to like get the fire strike in it. Watch. No, I'm just confused why the Baptiste. Oh, okay, so they do get the fire strike with it through aiming, but it only hits Mano, so not too good. Molly also ends up dying. Sabiobi. And then Jinwoo also dies. So this is fight. It's just looking really bad. And even though A-Man gets Shodak, this fight's already lost for the Hunters. And that was mostly because Leave ended up dying so late, and the NYXL were able to just go so aggressively. And what I'm noticing from the NYXL, that they're playing really aggressive, right? Like you think NYXL, you think very calculated, very ult-oriented team that's very smart. But here, especially on these retakes, they're just kind of running in, walling, go, 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 and it's working out for them. Maybe that's a side effect of them playing the Ana, however, and the enemy team playing the Baptiste, because the Baptiste does have more shield damage than the Ana. The Ana just has more impactful cooldowns and a little bit more burst healing, right? So yeah, one more fight for either team. Now, this fight's looking very good for NYXL because they didn't have to use any ultimates that last fight, and the Hunters used both the Baptiste ultimate and the Shatter. They now have 3 ults, almost a Mei ult, right? So NYXL should go up and win this next fight. Okay, so again, super aggressive defense here from the NYXL. They High Noon first, Jonak goes for a flank nade, and Libero and Hoppa go out the other side. Defensive wall from the Hunters. Defensive drone as well, right? And this is what I was saying about if you are the aggressive team, you get to use your cooldowns offensively, while the enemy team will have to use them defensively, so they have to wall and drone defensively. And yeah, NYXL has a bunch more ults here. Oh, good Sigma ultimate too, and this fight's just won already. It's already 2-0. Both DPS are dead for the Hunters. Well, Mayo doesn't get too much, and Mano actually gets pinned back. Oh, Jonak gets to reload. Oh, he does get the heal on Sabiobi. So yeah, that is going to be it for the first map, and pretty dominant map for the NYXL. The first fights, I guess not on this map, but they played the space really well, and their first fight seemed very rehearsed on both these maps. But let's get this second map started, and let's keep going in regards to this Sigma Diva question. Because let's say you're playing on a high ground like this. This is where Sigma makes a lot of sense, right? Because he can take angles on the enemy team. He can shoot anywhere, right? He can not get pressured because Sigma is pretty squishy. So if you can speed onto the enemy Sigma, he just dies, you know? Especially if there's a Mei freezing him. But because it's a small high ground, that's hard. And there's not too much high ground for the D.Va to go on. So in theory, on defense, this map makes a lot of sense for Sigma. Now, does it do the same on attack? No, not at all in my opinion. Because let's say you walk up main, you get walled. If you're Sigma and you get walled, you die. So it's like really hard, you know? You have to play very defensive. Also very interesting, a Ting is coming in on second map. So they're not looking to play dive here at all. They're probably going to play either the Rein Sigma or the Rein D.Va. Also, Lengsa is coming in for Mali. Have we seen him play at all yet? I'm not entirely sure. But definitely not their normal flex support. And he's probably going to play the Baptiste then. Which is very interesting. Like this Hunters comp is really interesting to me. Hey Kasaurus, who do you think will win between Shanghai and Seoul tomorrow? I think Seoul, but I think it'll be a very close and good match. I think Seoul edged it out because Shanghai is a great team, but I think they're somewhat limited on their DPS picks, right? We see Ding come in when it's Farah, but since it's mostly McCree this week, I expect to see like maybe Fleta Lip, you know, as their Fleta Lip or that kind of stuff. Because Fleta is generally their Mei player. Lip has been seen to be their Cree player. It could also be the other player. I don't know who I'm thinking of. Anyway, I just think Seoul as a whole is a... Oh yeah, DM. My bad. Seoul as a whole is a better team. It's probably going to be Fleta and DM then. But it's going to be a really close match, and it's going to be so good. I think both these teams have looked incredibly good, and I actually think the Asian region is a lot stronger than the Western region right now. You saw it with Vancouver Titans, right? They were kind of dominating the Western region, then they move, and then they get stomped. It's also because of the other stuff with the Titans, right? But if you could buff and nerf one character, who would they be? Shit, dude. These questions are getting hard. Nerf. Maybe Torbjorn. Torbjorn needs a nerf. His E is stupid. It gives him too much armor. Torbjorn is too good against dive. And maybe buff. I don't know. Nobody needs a buff. All characters need nerfs. If you just nerf the good characters, then the bad characters get buff indirectly. We've seen Lengsa play a lot of BAP. I guess Lengsa is their stand-in BAP player. Then, what about Genji? Genji got a buff. I think Genji actually gets some play, especially with this hero ban situation. So if they would buff Genji, he's fun to watch, but maybe it wouldn't be the best way for Overwatch to go, since he's already picked sometimes, you know? He's like doing pretty good in my opinion. Just like how Soldier is in a pretty good spot right now. Anyway, let's stop talking about nerfs and buffs. I'll do my job. I'm sorry, chat. I've stalled too long. Time to get into this second map. Okay. Ooh, interesting. So, both these teams again playing the Sigma instead of the D.Va. Again, I think the Sigma is good, especially on these low ground maps where the D.Va doesn't have to control too many high grounds. And the Sigma can take an off angle on the enemy team. I think the Sigma is great in that situation. Other things are the NYXLs directly teleporting to try and rotate the point. And this is really interesting because we've seen like a few variants of this TP strat, right? And we've seen it be especially strong on 2CP. Last week we saw Valiant do this same teleport, but then they actually faked it and went to the right side. I think, especially against double shield compositions, Symmetra is really good because she gets to recharge her ammo when she's shooting shield. So she's like the ultimate shield breaker. Now, good wall comes out, but NYXL is able to rotate the point, which is their goal. Now, there's a lot of pressure on them. So good aggression from Chengdu. And if Libero dies here, this pushes over. Oh, he's going to die. Okay. So, good response to the speed from the NYXL. And maybe if you want to speed like that, you don't want to play the Sigma, you know? Because, like DMing your team, especially from the enemy fire strike, makes a lot of sense. Elsa also got a lot done, yes. He got so much ult percentage. A great positioning from him, actually. Yeah, he's shooting the NYXL straight in the back. So maybe if the entirety of the Chengdu Hunters was on the high ground here, then this strat would have completely worked for the NYXL. But because Elsa's over here, he's doing so much work. Gets the rock on Hoppa too. Yeah, and he gets 40% straight just shooting the enemy team in the back. Nice job by him. And let's see if the NYXL now swap off the Symmetra. They're actually going to stay on the Symmetra. And what I've said time and time again. Oh, no, they're swapping to the Doomfist. And the Winston. And, whoa! Okay, we need a moment here. They've fully swapped to a dive composition. Mega swap. Interestingly enough, it's the not Winston D.Va, not Hammond D.Va. It's Hammond Winston. And they're also going for Doomfist Genji. So they're looking to hard commit to a dive on the high ground here. And this is interesting. Like, Baptiste is pretty decent against that. I guess the Sigma is pretty bad against dive. So if you could hard commit on the enemy Sigma, that would be very, very good. But this is a really interesting comp shop for the NYXL, and maybe why Who Are You and Libero in the first place, right? Because we just saw Sabiobi Libero play on the last map, and Who Are You is generally seen as the Genji player, right? So putting Who Are You on the Genji does make a lot of sense to me. He's also played a little bit of Mei, but generally Libero is their Mei player as of late. Okay. So Mano goes in very aggressively. Gets a lot of attention. Rolls out. Nice job by him. No kills yet, though. And the NYXL have used their Winston Bubble and their Hammond Slam and their Hammond E. So a lot of engagement power has gone from the NYXL now. And Animo dies and Libero gets stunned. So Libero's probably going to die here. And yeah, Hunters win another fight. And this full comp swap from the NYXL is not working out for them so far. They weren't really diving that synergized there, I think. It's also hard for Libero to dive with the team, because it's hard for Doomfist to get and dive high grounds in general. But you see Mano go in. And also Hoppa go in. Hoppa kind of misses the bubble here. which is very bad, right? You'd rather have that on the high ground so it can help lure you a little bit more. The wall comes in. And then who are you and Libero are both not even close to the fight, while both Mono and Hotba have already used their cooldowns. That combined with Hotba missing the shield just turns this into a really bad start of this fight for the NYXL. And that just feeds Hunters' ults more. They almost have the Sigma ult, they have the Baptiste ult, they have the Shatter, and NYXL really only have the Nano boost. Oh, we've gone a little bit too far here. Okay. So, Hunters playing super aggressive. I like this, right? They have an ult advantage. They should go aggressive. Bacon Jack kind of gets stuck, though. Nice job body blocking from Mono. Does get the drone. Nice drone there from Lengsa, who is their Baptiste player, apparently. And then a big shatter. Holy crap, from a Ting. And that should secure another fight here. For the Hunters, they only used 2 ults there, and it wasn't major ults either, so great fight for them. This is looking like really bad for NYXL. If they can't get big value out of this Nano boost, and maybe even like go for Nano Blade, they might even get full health here, you know? Like, because Hunters still have such a big ult bank. Okay. Mono comes in. Hoppa gets nano boosted on the engage. But again, Libero and who are you are nowhere near the fight to kind of clean up this damage. Mono gets ulted by Elsa, but he misses. I think if Elsa hits that there, they can kill Hoppa. And then Libero comes in from the side. Ends up finishing off Jinmu. So really, Elsa missing his ult there? Very bad. They also beat, but at this point, they've lost their Mei, who was split off from the team. And NYX are just going to win this fight off only Nano Boost against 4 ults. Which should not be happening. Yeah, so Nano comes in. Slam's gonna come in. Elsa pops his ult, right? But you see 4 people are basically zoned by 1 Mei wall. So all Hunters have to do is kind of win this 4v2, really. But Elsa misses his ult. Mono hits the slam on Jinmu. Hits the rock, but Mono has a good bubble. Or Hoppa has a good bubble. And then at that point, the backline for the NYXL are in position, right? Good boop from Mono to you. And Bacon Rack really didn't get anything done with his Creole either. Yeah. NYXL are going to win it. Because once the fight gets really brawly, their comp starts making a lot of sense, you know? They now have 5 ults. They only won that with Nano Boost. So this is like worst case scenario for Hunters. They're going to swap to the D.Va. D.Va's obviously a lot better than Sigma against the dive. Sigma does pretty bad against dive. And Hunters are going to swap over to the Brigade, which is very good against dive, right? And also and it's interesting that they've decided to put Yveltal on the Ana and Lengsa on the Brigade. That is very interesting. But Lengsa is the flex support and Yveltal is the main support, right? But yeah, let's keep watching this. I like the Diva swap. I like the Brig swap. It's interesting that they're putting their main support on the Ana though. But I guess we've seen Yveltal to be pretty good on Ana. So NYXL coming in with 1,000,000 ults. Mono instantly pops the ult in the backline of the Chengdu Hunters. Very well placed. Jinmu uses his ult though. If Jinmu can get a good ult here, Mei ult so impactful. Okay, it is a good ult, but all of NYXL is kind of able to get out. They also beat. And this is looking pretty bad for the Hunters so far. Yeah. There's just too many ults on NYXL. They really shouldn't have lost that last fight. It's just 1,000,000 ults. Huh? That was, if Elsa just managed to hit that Sigma ultimate, and they're able to stay more grouped, and Bacon Jack's able to do a little more, maybe even High Noon on the Sigma ultimate, you know, on the Nanoed Winston, I think they win that last fight. But because he misses it, NYXL is going to roll through the second point with just a massive ult bank. NYXL again with their Rhine Sigma, but this time because they're on a defense, they're going to play the Brig. Brig is a more preemptive dive counter, and it also makes some sense on this map because you don't have to kite back very much, right? Because there is no kiting back on a map like this, because there's literally basically only this high ground and then point, right? There's not too many other spaces. So by fortifying the Lucio, all you really give up is really proactive speed-ins on these corners, but you can play that out by playing more forward and aggressive as a whole, right? Where the Brig kind of counters the dive a lot more. And because you're also playing Sigma, maybe you need that counter to dive a bit more. Let's continue. We again see the Hunters play the exact comp, and I've said that I'm not sure about the Sigma on the attacking side, because he doesn't really get to grab an off angle on attack, which, I mean, I guess Elsa's going to do it here, but spamming up high ground is a lot harder than spamming from high ground. But again, because there's no speed on the NYXL side though, it's going to be hard to push Elsa. Because if you had speed right now, you would kill this man. Like, it'd be the freest kill ever. But because there's no speed, it's going to be a lot harder to get onto Elsa. So he's going to get a lot done on this off angle. Hello, Koala. Okay, so the Hunters walk out. Nice wall from Who Are You. And this is something I really like about the Ana. And it's something you can't counter with the Sigma, right? Whenever a Mei walls, you can Ana nade the top of the wall, like right here where I'm pointing. And then, by extension, that will nade the enemy team. So it's very easy way for Ana players to hit walls onto the enemy Reinhardt with the nade like that. And you instantly see how, even though it hits very far high ground, right, it still gets the nade onto a Ting, which the Ana nade is so oppressive and so good that the NYXL could probably just win the fight off this. Now, good wall here from Jinmu, but the drone has to come out and the wall has to come out just to counter the Ana nade. And Elsa gets slept over here, so he's going to die. Yeah. Huh? How does that happen? He has a shield, he has a shift. It's sad times for Elsa. He just recalls his shield and then he gets slept. Okay. Evoltal gets picked as well, and especially losing these first fights is so rough because now NYXL get to just use their Nano Boost next fight, get to charge all their other ults, you know? Ooh, Mono could die right here. That is rough, but NYXL should still be able to win this fight. Another sleep actually from Jonak, who's turning the entirety of Chengdu into a bunch of narcoleptics. Blank from Bacon Jack, but he's gonna get cleaned up. So, Jonak now has Nano Boost, and Nano Boost as an ult is just a much better ultimate than the Baptiste ult. Like, Baptiste ult is fine, right? It's good, but it gets countered by a good Mei, and if the Mei can wall the Baptiste ult, everybody can just rotate and use LOS, and then it's just going to be a zoning ult most of the time. So Baptiste ult, good ult, not too impactful though, which is why I'm much more of a fan of the Ana pick as a whole. Because the ult's just so impactful, and so is the nade. Good wall here from NYXL to spam the Chengdu Hunters more. And you see how NYXL, because they have both the Brigitte and the Sigma, they're not going aggressive on this wall, even though they could, right? I think if they had Lucio and Diva, they would hard engage on this wall. But because they have a more spammy comp with the Sigma, they're playing a lot slower. Now, here they get the enemy team so low. Probably could have went in, but Mono goes for the flank shatter. It's both Jinmu and Bacon Jack. At that point, again, they've only used one ult and they've won the fight. Oh. Okay. So this time, the Hunters go through the left side. They put up the Baptiste ult really early, and I guess they Baptiste ult and then Fire Strike. Do they? They don't actually Fire Strike. Okay, so they get a bunch of space. So this is actually pretty good for the Hunters. Like before they were having struggles coming out of chokes, but now they actually have a lot of space. The problem here is Hotbar's already gotten an angle, and Mono is already Nano Boosted. So this is like a really good two-pronged attack here, kind of, for the NYXL. Jinmu's done a great job charting his ult though, so maybe they could find a way out with the Mei ult. But good positioning for NYXL. Shatter gets blocked. I think it's nothing. Oh. My game is frozen. Oh, we're back. Where are we? We've done it. Nano Boost comes out. The Mei wall comes out. Ice block comes out. Okay, so Jinmu solo ults. Who are you? You finish him after the Mei ice block comes out. That's good, but maybe not enough value for the ults they have. Interesting though. Bacon Jack ends up dying. Hoppa gets a good ult, forces out the drone. Animo pops the rally, just runs in, and then Mono gets another shatter. Okay. So that fight was kind of what you'd expect when you lose a few fights in a row, right? And you're not able to get any ults out of NYXL. They're just going to stack up a bunch of ults. They're going to use them all at the same time. And you're going to lose the fight, right? So that fight actually wasn't too bad for the Hunters. It's kind of expected that they would lose that fight. Because they're down like free ults. But now they have free ultimates. So they should go ahead and win this next fight. If they play it properly. Okay. So, Libra was trying to be sneaky. Not successful. Oh, Lynx actually gets stunned in rotation. Are they able to kill Lynxa here? They even wall him so he can't get too many heals. Elsa ults, but again he misses. So Elsa's at really low value on the Sigma this map. Missed 2 ults so far. Mano's able to dodge. He's now in the middle of the enemy team, and then Who Are You comes out with an insane mail. Mano is going to die, but everybody's going to get frozen, so. So should just win this off that. And Elsa's ults have just not been great so far. Because that's really a fight that the Hunters should have won. I like the aggressive play from the NOXL, but it was also sloppy from Lynxa to not really be able to rotate with the team right. And then they also missed the Sigma ult. And they're just not able to rotate out fast enough, so they're not as clumped up for the mail. Okay, so they're gonna rotate again. Okay, this time Bacon Jack and Elsa are gonna try and push out Hoppa. They have 10 seconds left. They need to go to point. Oh, good wall there from Who Are You. Baptisto comes out. Oh, but again, big shatter from Mano. Dude, Mano's insane. He's put a thing in his place. Now, Libero does end up dying. And the Baptisto comes out. Oh, but insane Sigma ult here from Hotba. However, 2 people are down on the NYXL at this point. Definitely going to be hard to turn this around. But this Sigma ult, massive. They end up getting Bacon Jack. Oh, or you kills 2. So it's now a 4v4. Oh, they're going to go and kill Elsa here. Oh, are they? No, because Who Are You decides to right click and he misses. Oh my god, a tank shatters, but he gets booped. This guy is not having a good time this map. The tank line for the Hunters, it's falling apart. A Ting hasn't gotten value out of shatters. Mano has hit every shatter. Elsa hasn't gotten value out of ults. Hoppa just had a 4-man ult. Elsa's now going to die. And Animo uses his rally. Rally's incredibly strong. And NYXL is going to clean it up. Yeah, there's so much more value out of ultimates for the NYXL than the Hunters. And their Doom, like the NYXL attack was pretty sloppy to be fair. Like their Doom Genji dive wasn't that synergized. Even though it makes sense against the Sigma, right? And the second point snowball was just incredible. But a few mess ups and individual mistakes, particularly from the tank line, from the Hunters, kind of feels like it loses them that map. Okay, we continue. We have the NYXL walking on the Widow right now. Sabio is probably going to swap. And again, we have the same matchup where the NYXL have the Ana. And Jonex found a lot of value on the Ana. I think in Vanna is incredibly strong with the nade and the nano boost. And the Baptiste upsides are he has more shield damage with his left click, right? He can heal and left click at the same time. And his drone is also an incredibly strong ability, especially to counter the Sigma ult. Drone is very, very strong. But he doesn't do as much burst healing. And his ult is just not as good, in my opinion, as the nano boost. Mana boost, particularly because of the heal, is just so strong. So NYXL is deciding to just go and push the cart. I've seen some teams actually go for their Sigma pushing high ground, maybe with the Kree. But they're deciding to all go push cart, which is fair. Kree is actually also kind of on an off angle. And they're able to just get what? What is Yveltal doing? Why is he here? Nice sleep from Jonak, holy crap. What? What? Hello, crabs of claws. What? I've seen some dumb shit, but that was dumb shit. He just kind of tries to go for mono, and then it's like, abort mission, and then he runs into the team. And then he just dies. Nice sleep from Jonak though, holy crap. But, just a misplay from Yveltal. And that's gonna cost their team too, because now they have no speed. So NYXL can kind of speed on the enemy team and try to like get a lot of picks. Again, Hunters are abusing high grounds really nicely though. Oh, Jinmu has to drop. He gets pushed instantly. Gets his ice block forced. And Ting now also pins. Yeah, Jinmu's just gonna die, and so is a Ting, right? Oh, nice wall from Jinmu. But I don't think that will save them. Yeah. Oh my god, it's all falling apart for the Chengdu Hunters. Okay. And that's very bad, because now if you look at the ults too, Jonak almost has nano boost, so they can win next fight of that, and Hotba also has almost has ult. So yeah. What you normally do on this defense first hold, right, is you start on these high grounds like they did. Then when the cart gets like around here, that's when you drop in front of the choke, because this is one of the worst chokes in the game. It will force the enemy team to go and split, right? Either they go high ground, they leave their Sigma main, or they put their Sigma high ground, which is more likely, and then they push from main. Kind of create that off angle, and then you can push either side or just counter the enemy team. But now they got through one of the worst chokes in the game, just chilling. Okay, so 5-minute time mag here for the NYXL. Not looking too hot for the Hunters. And ult advantage for NYXL as well. So a lot of spam going to the high ground. A Ting has to drop to go and contest cart, right? If you don't contest cart here at all, and this is already pretty late actually, but then you don't get a fight here, right? Which is a really good part of this point. Normally you want to take this fight a little bit earlier if you are the Chengdu, like around this area. But they stay up top for very, very long. They're actually all 6 here already, so they could even just drop to hold this corner here. But if they let the cart push up all the way to here, it's going to be very hard to get an easy second fight, right? Which this second fight is really the best point, the best part of this point. Now, Sabiobi's going for a flank. And flanking with Kree in these kind of setups is very good because he has that flashbang, right? Sabiobi gets pushed out. Jonak's gonna get pushed out, but they're just not dropping for now, and that's costing them a lot. Like Chengdu, they decide to only now drop. Elsa drops first, but he's not contesting cart, and then a thing drops with the wall. But this is already, like, if the Chengdu Hunters lose this fight, which they are likely to lose, right? Because the enemy team nano boost, etc. And they have similar ults, but they're just coming up now. Gonna be rough. I think actually dropping. They get the wall. The wall doesn't do anything. Mono gets nano. And again, nano boost is really good. Thing gets. Oh, a thing gets. He gets fucking droned, but then he pins out. So it's a free shatter for Mono too. And wow. It's looking really bad here. This map was not good from the Chengdu Hunters. But now they have 5 ults. They're gonna get this fight, right? Because a lot of the Hunters backline ended up getting out. And I'm gonna go look at this fight real quick. Okay, Langsa instantly ults. A thing holds cart. They're trying to get out of the high ground here. Instant ulto from Hotba, and Libero is on the trigger too. And I like how proactive NYXL is with their ultimate. They are super proactive. Like whenever Hunters tries to retake, especially when the Hunters have a lot of ults, they're getting ulted on first to be forced to reactively do stuff, right? So Bacon Jack's trying to set up a flank. The Sigma ult comes out. Sigma ult is going to get Elsa. Elsa is not going to die because of a great Jinmu wall. Then the Mei ult comes out from Jinmu too. Okay, so Hunters is probably going to win this fight. Oh, they also freeze Libero. Get him too. Bacon Jack actually had a great ult too, which we saw him set up for. 4 ults had to come out from the Hunters. But holding this point, massive deal, right? And because that fight was going on inside Animo's, Beat also didn't do too much. But yeah, this point is very strong for the defense. And this is particularly strong for the defense because there is all these high grounds around the point, right? It's hard to dislodge the enemy team from these high grounds because if you look at the entrances to these high grounds, they're either very far or convoluted, or they put you very far away from the enemy team. Let's say you go up on this high ground here, right? And the enemy team is over here. Then they still have high ground on you because you are the ones that have to drop for the cart. Same for, let's say you go through church here. The enemy team rotates to the other high ground. They still have high ground on you. You have to drop because you have to touch the point. So this defense, one, because the spawns are too close. Like the spawns for the Chengdu Hunters are mega close. The spawns for the NYXL are so far. Like if you look at how far this is very defender favored. But thank you for the raid, my friend. Okay. We've got the NYXL retaking. They're all on the right side here. And as I said, this high ground is a good place to take, right, for the NYXL. Eviltals also might get caught again. But then you get here. What are you going to do, right? You have to either rotate into the enemy team from church, which they can hold this choke, or you have to kind of drop people and go point. And then it's kind of like a standoff, right? But just the defender spawn, they're so favored. Oh, actually, Eviltals does get a boop here onto Sabiobi, so that's going to win them a fight. So now they have to wait for Sabiobi, right? He's going to take a while to get back. Oh, and they actually dropped without Sabiobi there. Everybody from the NYXL is already going in without Sabiobi there. Sabiobi's going to get back in like 2 or 3 seconds though, so it's not the end of the world. But as you can see, NYXL have to go to cart. Hunters don't really have to do the same. They can only send their Rhine to like stop cart, right? And then all abuse the high ground. And specifically because these teams have the Sigma, this high ground is mega good. Like for Elsa to be there, and same for Bacon Jack, it's just really strong. So Atang drops, Langset drops, Libero ults here. Thing gets frozen. Good wall actually from Jinwoo. And then Elsa ults again. This time he gets 2 though. I was close to not getting anybody again. But drone comes out. And they're actually able to keep a Ting up really well. And this is that high ground advantage that I've been talking about, right? On the second point, Dorado. And even if a Ting dropped there, then Jinwoo can go and stall cart, right? And they can stall for a lot longer. And then a Ting can come back from spawn again because these spawns are so close. So second point Dorado, very, very hard to push. NYXL does have a massive time bank though, still 2.5 minutes. They are probably going to push it. Okay. So again, Hunters take the high ground. This time, again, as I've been saying, you have to do like convoluted long rotations to get to this high ground here. And what's interesting is Libero's actually not with the team. Mei is the one that you want to have where the enemy Mei is, because if Jinwoo just walls here, then Libero can't counter wall, and NYXL are screwed. So this is obviously a mistake, I think. If you want to have someone off angle, let it be Kree or Sigma, right? Kree is good. Kree is especially good in a situation like this because there's no diva on the enemy team. So let's say the Kree goes out right where Libero is now, or the high ground. Then it's very hard for Hunters to contest that because there's no diva, right? Normally diva would just fly over, kill the Kree. Easy peasy. But no diva on the enemy team means that you have to kind of long range duel him with your McCree, which is rough, right? Especially because your McCree also wants to look at the enemy team that's close. But it's Libero that's splitting. He's going to push the card, I guess, is the plan here. But he's already getting spammed out. Mano does get through. He gets nanoed. But he has to drop. And now Mano and Libero are both here. But there's no way that they can take the high ground, really. A Ting gets slept. Oh, but Bacon Jack somehow ends up here. Okay, Bacon Jack's going for the off angle on Libero. Oh, he drops. What? Why does he drop? Couldn't he have just... Oh, maybe... Never mind. I guess he just drops to try and go kill Libero. He stuns him. So he should kill him. Go for the right click. Go be a right click Andy, Bacon Jack. Do it. Join the dark side. Stuns him. Then misses the headshot. This is why you right click as McCree, guys. This is why you do it. Misses the headshot. Hits the second shot. But has to roll out now. And then he's gonna die. No, chat. If he hit that shot, if he just hits the stun headshot, he will live because there's no fucking Mei chasing him. Libero actually does end up dying to Evoltal, so nice job by him. So 1 for 1 so far. And again, these hunter spawns are so close. A Bacon Jack might just get back in time. Ting and Mano both decide to pin a bus. And Elsa is actually cleaning the frig up. And this is all that flank that was kind of, you know, that was trying to be happening for Hoppa, but Elsa does a good job holding this angle, getting those AoE hits on the stairs. And yeah, Hoppa's just going to die here, especially because Jinwoo's also there, right? Oh, Jinwoo also mails it. So good. And he's also going to go for Jonak. So yeah, Hunters win another fight. Why do they not run D.Va? Why do they prefer Sigma? I think it's because Sigma is really good at taking off angles on his own. And a lot of these earlier maps were a lot of low ground. And same for Dorado first point, right? There's not that much high ground. So, except for this first part, right? But Sigma is really good at a defensive spot there. But starting low ground, Sigma is, for example, really good at going here and then holding this with the rest of the team and spamming from the side and taking off angles. But I am not 100% sure on why they don't run D.Va. I think Sigma's really strong, right? But D.Va allows you to eat ana nades and stuff. And allows you to deny McCree flanks, mostly. Wait, fucking Yveltal does it again. We've just seen this happen. It's the second time this has happened. Yveltal just sits up here and he boops somebody. What the fuck? First it was Sabiobi, now it was Libero. Dude, that's gonna take the NYXL down to having only one fight. A really good hold so far from the Hunters, actually, on the second point. And right as I said, hey, the second point's gonna start, I said, hey, this is gonna be a really hard point to take for the NYXL, and it really is. Just because you see in this high ground abuse right here, all these people just sit there, they wait for the enemy team to be under them, then only one has to drop, right? And because you have that Sigma on the high ground, he gets to shield off your team still on the high ground. And maybe that's also a big reason why the Sigma is strong. But yeah, Yveltal has gotten two picks. Both teams have a shit ton of ults here. Mano and Libero are starting to push cart. Bacon Jack pops his ult. He gets walled up. Doesn't get LOS on anyone though. And then Mano alphas the thing again. Gets ulted though. Both beats come out. It's a little bit of a later beat here. Or then wait, you have missed Yveltal dying to Sabiobi just now. Did I? When? No, I think that was way earlier. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. Sigma ult comes out for both sides. I think just before the fight. Okay, I'm going back. We're going back, chat. Oh. Oh, Yveltal now it's. What? Yveltal giveth, Yveltal taketh away. This man just dies. He tries to be a wall riding Lucian. But again, the spawns for Hunters are actually really, really close. So this shouldn't be too bad, right? It's still bad. But it's not too bad. He's already over here. He's going to wall ride back in. They are Cree-ulting to get time. A Ting tries to drop and pin. Mono Alpha shatters him. Then Elsa uses ult. Hot Bay also uses ult. What I don't like from Hunters is that they're getting ulted, right? But they actually decide to use the drone and the beat, which you don't want to stack those up, right? You only want to use either or. Oh, it's because Lengsa doesn't get the beat. Oh, that's an error. So, Yveltal ults. Lengsa wants to get the ult, but he doesn't get it because the bridge blocks LOS. So Lengsa has to now drone for himself, while the rest of the Chengdu Hunters have gotten the beat. It's really bad. Because now Lengsa might die because they know he doesn't have beat. Good jump on the high ground from him though. Mono ends up dying. Oh, but then, the fight's going all over the place. Big Mayo though. Animo's like, shit, I have to be a killing Lucio now. Okay. Wow. Then the NYXL end up getting this point, but it was very rough. Let's actually watch what Sabiobi was doing there in that fight, because he kind of popped off, I think. But yeah, second point, Dorado, so hard to take. Just because of that defensive advantage, right? You see, even though Yveltal kind of ints early on in this fight, it's still so hard. Amano also gets a good shatter, right? Ooh, big ult from Sabiobi here. Oh, he just doesn't shoot until it's really late. Makes sense. Kills Yveltal. At the start of the fight again. Kills a Ting, and then... Wow. Big plays. Okay. Now Hunters have used 4 ults. NYXL also used a bunch of ults, right? They've used 5 ults. Ting still has the shatter because he got alpha on last fight. Jonak has the nano boost. NYXL only have 1 minute, however. Wow, and they're just... I think a consistent issue here for the Chengdu Hunters is that they're just not dropping to go and fight cart. Like, I think high ground is great, right? But at some point, you just need to send your Reinhardt to cart, right? Like, they're letting the cart go all this way. And now they're only going to get 1 fight on this point again, when they could have just gotten 2 fights. It's not like they got late spawns or anything. It was the same on that last point. They do end up killing Sabiobi though. But yeah, NYXL just flip to the other side because there was no one contesting the cart. And then NYXL just win because positional advantage, right? Like, they're contesting these flanks. It's good, right? You want high ground control. You want to control this. But if you want to control this, you need to also control this, right? And they're just not having people drop the card properly, I think. And that's what's losing them a lot on these payload maps. So yeah. NYXL just end up capping third. So first was free for NYXL and third was free. Only second was a good hold by the Hunters, and they abused that high ground really well. But the first and the third point shouldn't have been that free for NYXL. Pretty big errors coming in for the Hunters to just give up those points. Okay. Let's see what's going to happen now. So NYXL has decided to run the Sombra McCree on defense and a dive composition. Dive is actually really strong on this map because there's so much high ground, right, to play around, especially on this first part. And as Brig and Zen, you can get in very easy positions to like see the whole team and discord the enemy team and still be safe. I think this dive comp is actually very interesting from NYXL. This is a good map for it, and it's also interesting that they're playing the McCree with it, right? Kind of the McCree Samra, and this is really because what all the alternatives, right? You can play the Doomfist, but then the enemy team can just counter you with a dive comp, and the Kree is always good. It's pretty hard to counter, so it makes a lot of sense. Okay. Oh, Libero actually gets a hack on thing really early. And Hunters' has counter to this is also Kree Samra with the Rhine Eva. Interesting. I think maybe they should run the Brig instead of the Lucio. And they should definitely run the Mei. Mei is very, very good into Winston and Diva. Like, they could even run Mei Sombra if they really want to play Sombra. But Mei Kree just makes too much sense. Mono is doing a lot. He shouldn't be able to do this much because there's not that much tank healing on the NYXL side, right? So the real smart counter to this is to kind of shoot the tanks, right? Just shoot tanks forehead, because the Nyata and Brig have a hard time healing up tanks. So if Mono drops, shoot Mono. He has to jump out very early. Okay, Yveltal dies on rotation. It's also, what the fuck is going? Why do they have Lengsa on Lucio and Yveltal on Ana? I guess Lengsa just cannot play Ana. Is what I'm getting from this. Okay, they're now in a room. Yveltal's dead. He was already pretty far to his ult, actually. But yeah, just shoot tanks. Mono gets hacked. They don't actually end up going on Mono. Wait, they hack Mono, and then they speed out, and they go for somebody else. They hack Mono. Yes, good. Nice hack. He's low. They can go for Mono. They're pretty healthy. Yveltal is almost back, right? Oh no, he's not back by a long mile. And then Mono goes low. And then Animo drops. And then they don't do anything. And then eventually they're like, wait, guys, Animo dropped into us. Let's go on him. And then they all die. So this is looking horrible for the Hunters so far. They are not playing this correctly so far. They need to focus tanks more aggressively. And they also need to think about their rotations a lot more. And I'm also not sure why they're not playing Mei. Bacon Jack insta dies. Oh boy, is this going to be a full hold? Oh, rip. He just peeks out. Oh, the Hunters are tilted. They've now swapped over to the Winston as well. So we always drop. He's killed Jinmu. Sabioba just drops and stuns Jinmu. That is actually very hard to TP out of. Anyway, if I was on the NYXL right now, or if I was on the Hunters right now, I would definitely be playing the Mei. Mei is very, very good, especially if you just want to push cart. And then I would also just be playing the Lucio Anna, right? And the Reinhardt. But what they need to do is they need to kind of bait the cart with the Reinhardt and then focus tanks with a lot of other people, right? So they can have the Reinhardt kind of push the cart. Going inside right is fine, right, if they can get there. But before that step, they need to first force out Mono. And then they need to have a Ting on cart in front of the team, getting healing, kind of baiting the enemy team to focus him. And then they can like push the cart pretty far, I think. But they don't have the Mei, so it's hard to focus the Winston away. And also, they have a Winston now. Oh, my mouse is out of charge. Grab the G Pro wireless cord here. Hashtag not an ad. There we go. We're back. Okay. Chengdu Hunters walk up. Okay. The Ting dives in. He gets booped instantly. So very, very good boop. From Animo, I think. That is actually like a fight-winning boop. It's because the Nano came out there for a Ting. And now he's probably going to do nothing. Oh, yeah, Animo boops him. Drops him to the ground. He's gotten the Nano boost, but now he's able to zap nobody, right? They also sleep Mono in the backline, so that's a good job by Yveltal. Thing jumps back up. The rally comes out. They're pocketing Jonak. Oh, Jonak lives because he gets the classic Jonak pocket. Nice rally from Animo. Mono ends up dying in the backline because he got slept. But Excelsior still have a bunch of ults here. Also, Creel. The EMP comes out for Libero before the EMP comes out for Jinmu. Ooh, and NYXL have a really good hold here so far, but also a very sloppy attack from the Hunters. Just like undisciplined, getting picked. They're obviously not in a good mental state after they've now had 3 points capped on them. And if you want to cap the whole map on Dorado, you need to have a clean first point, because then you can snowball it through second, right, with your ultimate. Not going too well for them so far. Okay. We're on high ground. Thing dives in. They've created a lot of space for themselves, right? This is good for the Hunters. They've now gotten this high ground area, which is really strong, right? Because it leads into point. See where the NYXL is, however. Hoppa's on the high ground here, and the rest of NYXL have pulled back to kind of wait for their respawns to come in. Everybody's back now. Mono's back. They can go ahead and take this fight now. However, the NYXL use their EMP. Hunters still have their EMP. So, kind of gonna be another game, right? Where Jinmu can now look to EMP Jonak, right? But if Jonak's able to transcendence the Jinmu EMP, then it will probably be a one fight for the NYXL. But if Jinmu can, for example, bait out the Jonak EMP by unstealthing behind him and like faking the EMP, right? Or going for a manual hack, and then EMP him, then The Hunters are probably going to win this fight. So we'll see what happens there. Where is Jinwoo right now? Okay. He is looking for Jonak, who's playing very far back. Smart positioning from him. The beat comes out, I think, of 4 Hunters. Oh, and that makes the Transcendence come out on Mano. So now, all Jinwoo has to do, stay alive, EMP after the Transcendence. And hopefully Hunters will go ahead and win this fight. Elsa flies back in. Lives. Oh, but a Ting actually gets stunned. Mano also dies though, so it's a 1-for-1. Bacon Jack's in a really bad spot. Hoppa's been doing a lot this fight. When did Jinwoo ult? Wait a second. Wait. When did he ult? I'm lost. He solo ulted Mano while they were also beating. Why? I guess because he had ult? But if they want to EMP him, they shouldn't beat, you know? But I guess the solo ult, now that I think of it, is actually pretty okay. Oh, because Mano had the ult. But it does mean that Jonak gets a free Transcendence, right? Like, if there's no more EMP, he just gets to transcend for free. He's obviously trying to keep Mano alive here, but Mano kind of runs away from the healing. So mistake by Mano too. Could have probably gotten the EMP healing. Pretty sure solo EMP as a dive composition is bad. I don't know. If the Winston has his ultimate and you just solo EMP him, it's not that bad if you can just instantly burst him. Because then you're just in a 6v5. Mano does end up dying. He probably could have gotten back to his team, to be honest, even though he was hacked. And then I think also just dies. So, again, not very good plays coming out here for the Hunters. EMP was interesting, but because Jonak just had his Transcendence, maybe not too good. Hunters at 5 seconds now. Free. Okay, they do get the cart. A Ting has his ult. Also, a Ting should have really ulted there. What? Wait, I didn't even realize this. But a Ting ends up dying with his ultimate up while they're killing Mano. Okay, so he gets shot. He should ult. And then he gets stunned, so he can't ult anymore. Oh, no. So that was bad. If he can live there and they can kill Mano, they are likely to win that fight, you know? But yes, now I think he has to get to the point quick. Focus, he gets the nano boost. They also Diva Bomb. Mano zone in the back line. Good job by Mano. Oh, and so is Libero. But they're gonna kill Yveltal here. And they might also kill Bacon Jack. Yes, they are going to kill Bacon Jack with Sibiobi's ult. And just more ults coming out for the NYXL. Because the Hunters just have to go to cart and they can't set up anything. This fight isn't looking too good. And Sabiobi's popping off again. Wow. So very one-sided match. Especially that last map was just really one-sided. And it was really... Especially that last map was because Hunter just played undisciplined. But before that, especially on this first map, it was very much because the NYXL was very methodical and they were able to get a lot of value out of their ult. They were able to get this value out of their ult because they ended up going in first a lot of the time. and especially Mono had like the game of his life. He outperformed a Ting and a Meng so hard, and this Winston and Ryan are looking really clean. So for the people on YouTube, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.